I live on a drumlin. You can see this road goes down a hill. There are several homes. You can see one back in the woods. Maybe you can see it. And here's one close to the road. And on the other side of the road, you see we go down the hill. We're at the head of a drumlin made by a glacier. And I'm just going to walk along the road to show you the driveways that go up the hill gently, quite a ways, to my neighbors' houses and my house. I live on a drumlin. It's a glacial formation. You can read about it in your book, and we'll talk about it some more in a little while. There's my driveway. I have Pink Lady gravel. My neighbor, Wayne, has asphalt. Here comes an idiot from Illinois. There he goes. I don't know where he's going. He doesn't belong down here. And there's another driveway that goes to a house behind mine. He falls off the other end of the drumlin. And then there's another house through the woods there. You can see the siding of it a little bit. So this is a big drumlin, fairly large drumlin, and there's several houses on it as we go up the hill. Now I'm going to go to the back end of it and show you some other glacial formations. This might be a little shaky. That's my neighbor's house. He's on the southern side of the drumlin. On the southern side of the drumlin. You can sort of look up on this ridge and see that it's sort of a rolling hill. My house is just behind his. You may be able to see part of it. I don't know. Anyway, I'm in the center of the drumlin. And then, let's take a look at this valley. A glacial valley, scoured out of the landscape. As the ice moved, it's like taking a big piece of sandpaper full of rock and unbelievable pressure, because the hundreds and hundreds of feet thick the glacier was. That's heavy ice. Bad gnats this morning. You see the fence posts up there from my garden. I want you to notice this ridge. This ridge. Watch this ridge. The forested ridge is too steep to plant, so it was never cleared and remained in forest. Let's take a ride up to the garden as we pass the ridge. The ridge is an esker. E-S-K-E-R, or is it A-R? Check your spelling. What is an esker? An esker is a ridge of rock and gravel deposited by a river flowing through a block of ice. In other words, a glacier, a river in a glacier. That's what that ridge represents. Excuse me. On the north of me, the drumlin, where I live, where my house is. On the south, the glacial river deposited rock and gravel. It's often the source of gravel mines. So we've got an esker, Glacial Valley. We've got a drumlin on this side. And you can see the esker, the glacial river, turned, meandered. It made a bend. It made a bend. It made a bend. So, as we drive up to my garden, picture is as shaky. I should come out and pick beans again today. I have an early garden because I fight to make it early. I fight the cold temperatures and so forth to make it an early garden. Anyway, this is asparagus, and you'll see my garden is at the head of this glacial moraine. The esker flows around the backside of the garden and continues. There's another feature we're going to look at in a moment, and that's called a kettle. I'm going to walk down into a kettle and see if I can show it to you from the bottom. A kettle is a hole in the ground that was left after a great big block of ice melt. And when that ice melted, as it melted, the glacier moved around it, past it, and deposited rock and gravel all around it, so that the land was built up around the kettle, but we ended up with a hole after the ice melted. And in some cases, the ice melted and left and made a lake. That's called a kettle lake. I'm going to show you two kettles. One is a depression behind my garden, and you can see, I hope, that this goes down into a hole. You see? It's a hole, and then the esker is above it. Now I'm going to walk down into another one and show you that. I'm part way down into the kettle now, and just going to pan around here so you can see that the landscape goes up. This is really the end of the Drumlin that I live on, where my house is. I run a hose 1,000 feet back to the garden across that Drumlin, and we're walking now down into this hole. I'll get right to the bottom of it, where the point of the ice block apparently was. My dog, when he got blind and old, before I had to put him to sleep, used to come down here by accident, and then he'd walk circles. He didn't know how to get out. He was too blind to see. He got too old. Anyway, this is the kettle, and it's sort of nice. I guess if you're a deer and you want to get out of the wind, you come down in this hole. This one is maybe an acre. It's not very big, but hopefully you can see that the land goes up the hill, and I don't know, the depth of this hole is probably 30 feet, maybe 40 feet up that hill, and it's a hole. There's a ridge all around me. There's a lower ridge right there where we came in, but there's a ridge all around me, and I don't know, maybe I'll try to walk up this ridge a little bit so you can see what this landscape is like. I'm going to turn and look straight back where we were at, down in the hole. It's a kettle. It's a small kettle. There's a lot of kettles in the landscape around here. You can see them as you drive down the country roads. You can see them a lot. And maybe I'll try to show you some others. But I'm getting up to the top now. Well, actually, looking ahead of me, I'm not up near the top. I'm still quite a ways from the top. Huffing and puffing. There's the bottom back there. where we came from. I'm going to sidestep this a little. Anyway, I'm going to go up this hill. You won't be able to see much, so I'll turn this off, and then I'm going to get some pictures of some more kettles, just to give you an idea of this pretty landscape around here. This is Jordan Lake, one of the many lakes in the Adams County, Marquette County area formed by glaciation. So this is a kettle lake. It's about 90 feet deep. It's landlocked, fed by groundwater flowing into it and by springs underneath it. So, all part of a glaciated landscape. This lake's about 600 acres.